Israel and the UAE establish full normalization of relations, Trump says. Israel says it will temporarily suspend plans to annex the West Bank as part of a new peace deal with the United Arab Emirates. The deal was announced by US President Donald Trump, who told reporters in the Oval Office that he had a very special call with leaders from both countries, Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and UAE Crown Prince Mohammed bin Zayed, and that they had agreed to a peace agreement. Trump also tweeted a lengthy joint statement between the US, UAE and Israel, calling the agreement to full normalization of relations between Israel and the UAE a historic diplomatic breakthrough. The UAE and Israel plan to exchange embassies and ambassadors, according to the statement. It will be the third Arab country to open relations with Israel after Egypt and Jordan. This deal is a significant step towards building a more peaceful, secure, and prosperous Middle East, Trump said Thursday. It will be known as the Abraham Accord, Trump said of the agreement, which, U.S. Ambassador to Israel David Friedman said, is named for the father of all three great faiths, Christian, Muslim, and Jewish. I wanted it to be called the Donald J. Trump Accord, but I didn't think the press would understand that, Trump said to Laughter. Trump also suggested that other countries will follow the UAE's lead now that the ice has been broken. We are already discussing this with other nations, Trump said. So you will probably see others of these. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said it was a historic evening, adding, "A new era opens between Israel and the Arab world." Speaking in Jerusalem, he said, "We are establishing full and official peace, full diplomatic agreement with embassies, investments, commerce, tourism, direct flights between Tel Aviv and Dubai and Abu Dhabi." Asked whether it was right to characterize the UAE agreement as stopping annexation, Netanyahu said, "We received a request to wait temporarily from President Trump. It is a temporary postponement. It is not removed from the table, I am telling you that." Israel's opposition leader Yair Lapid congratulated Netanyahu, adding, "This step is proof that negotiations and agreements, not unilateral steps like annexation, which would harm Israel's security, are the way forward for our diplomatic relations." Israel's defense minister and alternate Prime Minister Benny Gantz lauded the agreement, saying it highlights Israel's eternal aspiration toward peace with its neighbors. But officials from the Palestine Liberation Organization (PLO) rejected the agreement to establish bilateral relations between the UAE and Israel on Thursday, a message echoed by Palestinian militant group Hamas. In response to a tweet by bin Zayed about the agreement, PLO Executive Committee member Hanan Ashrawi tweeted,